Hi, Danny.
Woohoo! I got SunPsychic Jean in the house. I'm excited. I'm excited.
It's very
So,
nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
oh my gosh. Um it's been a long time in this. I mean, we should have done this a long time ago. When I first met you, we were doing some I'm not sure what we were doing, but I got a little mini reading from you, and it it blew me away. It took me like 2 days, three
Oh,
days, and I'm like processing this and going, "What the heck?" I mean, it was really cool. I mean,
it, it
I
was
loved it.
it was that way for me as well because it was startling to know it was a practice session after doing or during a class that we were taking, and we were doing a breakout room, and I did a reading for you, and I was really the emotion that was coming through that I felt and what I could see and that you were validating was one of it was the beginning of my experience doing it out in the real world.
Yeah,
So, but it was very, very telling, very touching, and it was memorable as well. I wished we would have had it recorded because it was just so quick.
right. And a lot of that is, which brings me to this. I've been thinking a lot about um, my journey and revisiting some things. The evolution of, the evolution of a psychic. So I think about that a lot, and I go, it is this a gift, or is this a craft? I think it's kind of a craft. I know some people, they just get it, that maybe they have a near death experience. I don't want to go that far.
I know, right? Yeah, yeah. I,
So I
I think.
think,
Mhm. I
go
think
ahead.
it's a natural ability for everybody to be intuitive and insightful and receive information from the spiritual realms. And I think that it depends on how much we focus on it, how much we practice and believe and rely on it and use it within our own lives. And it does develop. There are some people who are just born that way and they have this knowing, and it's very apparent, but there's others that and the stories that I hear from thousands of people that say, I saw my dead grandmother at the bottom of my bed. I saw my dog run across the room after he was dead. We all have these occurrences that allow us to believe that there's more than just what's right here in this world.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, but
yeah,
it was an insatiable draw for me to find out more. And I started with Reiki, and then I went to crystal healing because I learned about
mm,
crystals in Reiki. And then I went into the shamanic energy healing, and I
mm,
did that for 3 years. And then I moved into the psychic and mediumship. But all throughout that, all of that time, I was developing my awareness skills, my
yeah,
sensitivity to energy.
right, right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the Reiki to the crystal healing to the shamanic healing. Talk to me about the shamanic healing, because I'm fascinated with that. And I mean, I'm fascinated with all of this stuff. Certainly, the crystal healing is phenomenal. But talk to me about your journey with the shamanic healing. You said you did that for 3 years.
I did. I had two different teachers. I had one teacher where I would go weekly and do shamanic journeying and
Mm,
developmental, and she was very much influenced by the Egyptian pantheon, I think it's called, and she would mix a lot of this shamanic and Egyptian sort of uh, overall. concepts together. But where I learned the most was about energy and about the actual shamanic journey. And we were in a circle of people, and this one woman was talking about when she was on a horse, riding over a hill. And I said, I was a bird watching somebody on a horse riding on a hill. Like, we were sharing shamanic journeying at that time. But it was really hard. And I want to let everybody know that it's not something that happens overnight, sometimes maybe, but it was really hard for me to hang on to that image or that vibration, or it was really hard. And I had to train my focus. I had to train to hold on to that image that was being downloaded at that moment. And it was very much a practice that I had to do over and over again in order to be able to get the full story. It would just be like a flash. And then through doing this on a weekly basis with this group, I was able to develop into, the full shamanic journeying. I
Yeah.
then moved to another teacher, and she had more of a Buddhist influence with her shamanic teachings. And that was really interesting. And what she offered were weekends, long weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. She would take us off into the woods, and we would have a bonfire, and we would sit around this bonfire on these cold rocks and freeze outside and draw stuff in the dirt and pick up sticks and blow on the sticks and bury the sticks and pick up rocks from not beautiful rocks, like just rocks from the nature. And she
Like
introduced
this
me.
beautiful rock.
Yeah, she introduced me to that wonderment of the earth and the spiritual realm, the spirits, the elementals and the spirits and the energy of earth and all the
Mm.
directions and the fire. And it was such a blessing that I was able to fully immerse myself into those weekends, because it takes a while to decompress from the job and the home. And so, and I expanded, and during that time was where I did my own healing. And I think that is really self-examination, self-realization,
Hmm.
and self-forgiveness. I, dark night of the soul, cried for things that happened, in my childhood, and, understood them and gained perspective and came out with wisdom. You have to go through it. You can't go around it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's super important. You have to go through it. Can't go around. I'm pretty good at going around it, and it doesn't work that well. So I excuse me. I liked what you said with when you were the eagle above, and you go, and it's just a knowing. It's just a flash. It's just a second, and then you try to hang on to it, and it may be gone. So that's what I think of as the craft. And maybe it's the craft of holding on. Oh, maybe that's a book. The craft of holding on to these psychic images. Yeah, it does take a while to just drop in and stay in. And if the eagle flies away, bring it back, call it back. And we forget that we can do that we can bring the eagle back, that we can talk to the eagle, that we can get information from. The thing that I just love about shamanism is the universality of it all. Is that a word? Universality? I think it is.
Along those lines, Danny, what I always say, or what the information that I was given, is that this is how humanity was always meant to be. Is all of the indigenous tribes did not have an internet, they did not have cell phones, but they watched the stars and they listened to the vibration of the earth, and they felt the change of the seasons, and they migrated and moved in harmony with the Earth's vibration, with the stars guiding them, and with the animals and the other energies, sentient beings around them. And I feel like this is the way humanity was always meant to be, intuitive and mindful and aware of all of these other energies around us. But with, I guess the industrial age and all the religions and things, they took us away from our natural state, and now it's just exploding that we're coming back into this natural state of who humanity. We've always had these abilities, these gifts, and these tendencies, and it's just I've always felt that that was meant to be.
Wow, we're going to put a little asterisk on that one, because that was a great sentence there. The thing that struck out to me, it was all, I think, perfectly said. Mindful of the energies around us. We get so caught up in our own little bubble, our own little awarenesses, that when we actually get quiet, and it goes back to the practice of being quiet, we get to hear the other energies around us, the trees, the rocks, crystals, the harmonics of the earth. And we get to be mindful of all that is. And it's so hard listening to that with all the excess outside noise going on. Yeah. So yeah. The other thing you said that we're going to springboard on is you mentioned your intuitive side to it. And before we got on, we were talking about our different styles of reading, which isn't so different. It's just I use tools. I started out with tools. You started out. Mm-hmm. What do you have? You have a pendulum?
Is one of my, yes. I was introduced to my pendulum early on in my Reiki, and we used it again throughout all of my training, and we used it throughout my shamanic training, and I've always used it. I've had a pendulum by my side for many years. So, and
all right.
it's a big it assists me answering questions and helping people when I need my own analytical or my judgmental or I want them to get the job. I don't want to have that interfere with the reading, and I want to have a pure answer come through. And I trust that my spirit guides will show me the what is the answer is, or what the message is, through my pendulum. I trust it very much.
Yeah. And this is similar to what we were talking about before, where it's a confirmation.
Developing a trust and a consistency that is reliable and trackable, and that trust is really important. Now, I do use cards. I do use tarot cards for myself, and I read for myself, and I read for family. I do have a lot of oracle cards as well that I absolutely love. But I just with the being on YouTube and having the quick succession of the readings, I find that it's just is something that is hard for me to incorporate. So I do understand the craft and the trust and the reliability. And sometimes you see something and you're like, I can't believe it, even though the card is saying you're going to make it through, and you're like, but how am I going to make it through? There's still but I do definitely understand and rely and trust that spirit comes through us and helps us to display or show a story or a sequence of happenings through the cards. And I
Right.
think it's magnificent.
So when I do online YouTube stuff, I mean, I am blown away with how, you get this energy. For me, there's so much external energy out there that it's hard to focus on the question, the person asking it. And so I get muddied. And so that's where the cards help me. Good. I'm glad to know that you're a closet card thrower. Yay. I
Absolutely.
am. I just spent 3 days without cards in this seminar, and what you said was it's all about trust. It's you mentioned another word I'm going to use, confirmation, that the information that you're getting is correct, that you're giving is correct, because we think that we're making all this stuff up sometimes. And yeah, but we're not, if we're tapped in, if we're um I love this phrase, mindful of the energies around us, then I'm not sure. We just have to say it and see if it resonates with the other person. And if it resonates with the other person, great. And if it doesn't, well, that's good too. Don't take it. I
Right,
know, I
right.
know a lot of people go, I'm just going to believe what you say. Don't. It
Mhm.
has to fit within where you are on your path today, which is why I like journeying a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that with deciphering the messages that are coming through practice and through our craft, we learn discernment. And we also learn the vibration of things. And
Mm,
we learn that what we are getting from the loved ones on the other side, specifically for me, is it comes through my own imagination. I have to open up to the possibilities of an unknown world, which is our imagination, and set aside this analytical or this judgmental or this egoic side that is in constant, examining and judging and doubting. And you learn to feel the vibration of the information that is coming through. You learn discernment of what is your own
mm,
judgment or your own analytical side, and what is pure imagination. Things I have never heard before, never saw before, come flying through my mouth, and it shocks me as it's coming out. It does. And that's when I know, and I call it like in the pocket. And believe
yeah,
me, there's sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I'm like, they just give me like little drops, and sometimes they come in like a magnet, and it's very flowing. So it just depends. Each one is just a little bit different.
right, 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 right. Do you have anything else you want to say about your process? I could talk to you all day. This is
Mm, I,
fascinating.
I think we covered a lot of it. We can move on. I can't wait to find out what we're going to talk about next.
Okay.
It's lovely. It's lovely. And it all comes around in a circle. So
Yeah, it
yeah.
does. Yeah, it does. Um, all right. So, um, let's go with, we're going to stick with kind of shamanism. Here's the things that you said that we could read on, which I was going, wow, that's a lot. So
They were
what you said was galactic shamanism, elementals, Shasta, personal reading, spiritual sharing, etc. So we talked about the spiritual sharing a little bit. So where do you want to go? Galactic,
um
shaman,
I,
elementals?
I do want to share that some of my knowledge has been through doing readings and having people ask me for messages. And like, for instance, when I'm on YouTube and somebody says, I have a pet parakeet who died, 10 years ago or something, can I have a message? And I said, well, I've never read a parakeet before, but let's see what we can do. And I actually got that he loved every morning when the family would come down and say hello to him, that he was part of the family. And he didn't understand why he had to stay in the cage, that it was for his own protection. He wanted to be outside of the cage in with the family. And it was so heartfelt and so real. I thought, I had never done that before. So I think it's important to have an open mind and allow for that information to come through. And with that, somebody asked me for a message from Chief Eagle Feather, and White Buffalo Calf Woman.
Oh,
And I have it as its own little short on my YouTube page, because it was so profound for me that as I was bringing through this message, my cadence in my voice it slowed down and became melodical, and it was a very profound energy that came through me. And I remember that White Buffalo Calf Woman said to listen to the harmony of the earth, listen to the harmony and feel the harmony, tune into the harmony, that there is a vibration and there is a frequency and a harmony. And I remember that had head to toe chills, and it was one of those things where I was surprised at what came out of my own
yeah,
mouth,
yeah,
because but they are very, very strong, I guess, energies. And and this is how I learned some of the things that I've referred to, is from what I gain through some of these messages I bring through.
yeah, yeah. So let's just go with that. Let's piggyback on that. So there is, oh, hang on. I may have to. Okay. So Chief White Bear of the Hopi clan. His name is Fredericks Oswald White Bear. Have you heard of him?
I have not.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, good.
No.
Good. Um, I picked up a book, The History of the Hopi. Don't ask me why. Don't ask. And I'm like, I'm trying to read this, and they have all these different names. I can't pronounce them. I can't retain them. I'm like, okay, it's sitting over there on my shelf. I see another book, and it's written by the same guy, Grandfather White Bear. And the title of this, and it's pretty much the same thing, shorter, clearer. And the title is The History of the Hopi from Their Origins in Lemuria.
Wow. Wow.
And so there is the Shasta element, there's the shaman element, all in that. So where I would like to go with the list that you gave me, which was so fun, because I'm going, where are we going with this? Can we try to get a message for the collective from each one of those topics?
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
And
let's dig into the early Lemurians and what they would have to say to us at this time.
sounds good. Sounds good.
In the collective.
Yeah. So the first thing they're reminding me is that we can travel there and communicate with them at any point in time that we wish. That the existence of Lemuria is not linear. It is all existing all at the same time. All is now. The energy is accessible. The information is accessible. Oh, they're saying the connection of uh, the what they learned from the demise of their society is very much almost repeating itself in humanity. The disconnection, the overzealous of information that is not that has no basis. There's no it's important to maintain the root connection and the spiritual connection and the vibration, and not to get ahead of ourselves. I feel like they want to let us know that we are resilient and that we are unique and that we have all of the tools that we need within our own vibration, within our own spiritual vessel, inside of our vessel, this spiritual vibration is all knowing, and we have all the tools that we need in order to evolve. And they are reminding us, calling us. And reminding us that we're all one collective consciousness. It's more than just the physical existence of the community or society, and our community and our society. It's important to keep in mind the spiritual and energetic consciousness of all of this is important to keep in mind. And I'm just going to stop there because I heard a little bell.
You heard a bell?
I think it was my email or something.
Well, you have to pay attention to those little bells. The first word that I heard before I threw any cards on this is healing. So the message that I get from them, and that was beautiful what you were saying. There was so much in there. It was amazing. And to piggyback on that, it's yeah, we have everything we need to evolve, to heal ourselves, because we feel that there is such a huge divide and a huge separation, that when we tap into the energy of the earth, that we know that we're all part of the same thing. The cards that I got, the first ones I thought was simplicity, and then I got love, and then just for the time I got feline. And I'm like, really? Are you trying to make a joke here, cards? But we are birthing into a new information. One of the things that I got with the cards, with all what you were saying, was the intention of manifesting what we want. If we just are, so the first image I got was being in an ocean and the waves kind of gently moving us around, shifting us, moving us, healing us, getting rid of some stuff that we don't want. However, those waves, there could be a rogue wave that knocks us around. And so that's where I'll go back to the word craft. Our craft of how to stand in the surf is really important. If you've ever been in the surf, there's a way to stand in it so you're not going to get knocked down by the wave. You can bounce around, but you'll still be upright, or they'll just knock you on your ass and roll you around in the sand. But the last card that I pulled with this was the intuition card. And it goes back to what we started with, is trusting the intuition as it comes in, and knowing what is our egoic self, our fearful self, our lower level consciousness versus the higher messages coming from above. Thank you, Lemurians.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. And, and we wonder why we're attracted to Mount Shasta, because that's where the city of Telos is. And it's a higher dimensional city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was, during my shamanic energy healing classes, we learned, I was introduced to the energies of Mount Shasta, and felt a great affinity and connection to it. And I had a period of time where I felt like I was being called there, that I was being beckoned, and that I had such a strong desire to go there, and that they were calling me. Somebody was calling me, but it was really strong, and it was really like in my soul. I knew I had to go there. I planned the trip. I mapped it out. I knew where I would go inside and do my meditations, and it didn't come to pass. I still have not been there. I've had an invitation from a friend, and but she says that you can also travel there, which
Sure.
I have in meditation. But the strong desire and the pull is not as strong anymore. But it is something from like what I feel when I'm being led or guided by, and sometimes I feel like they're insisting, like go now, like
Yeah.
it was really insistent. But it has since, I think that there was a window of opportunity for me to go there and
Yeah.
expand. I was going through a really rapid awareness ascension, and there was so much going on, and I was trying to absorb some of the information that was coming in. And so that window of time had passed, and I do still think fondly of that calling, but it's just not as forceful of a pull right now.
Yeah. And you're on the East Coast, so
It's a
it's a
strong
bus
pull.
ride or two.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I live 8 hours away from Shasta. So I've been going there for the past 4 or 5 years every June.
Mm.
And if I go up the coast, up into Washington or Oregon, well, you pass by Shasta. And the first time I saw it, I go, well, that's a big mountain. That was a big mountain. And but I was just passing by. The second time I was going there, it was crazy. I mean, the energy was just off the charts. And then the third time I went there, Dr. Gale had just moved there.
Oh, wow.
And so I go to see her, and now I'm aware of the galactic energies. And you were one of the first ones that said, hey, you need to open up into this. And I'm like, what? But when, so I'm going to see Dr. Gale, and I'm thinking of aliens and Lemurians and spaceships, and my radio went ballistic. It started talking in a low level hum vibrational change language. It didn't make any sense. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I didn't dare change the channel because I didn't want to lose it, because I'm thinking this is just bizarre. Maybe it's just a weird, I don't know. I'm trying to make sense out of it. And I go talk to Gail about it. She goes, oh yeah, they're talking to you. But when you go there, and I do believe that we can go there in our minds, and that we can experience that same thing through a shamanic journey, through meditation. When you're there, it seems a lot easier. It's just off and running. Where now for me, I'll go, okay, let me get in that space, get in the space, get in the space, get in the space. Where if I'm on the mountain, it's like, okay, oops, I'm in the space.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I definitely, it is one of the things on my bucket list, and just the healing properties and the awareness and raising your vibration and moving into that next dimension. I think that all of it is orchestrated, and I think a lot of light workers and are called there. And I do know that sometimes it's a little bit overdone, like there's a lot of tourists and stuff, and different types of spiritual people on their spiritual quest,
Right.
but still, I think that there is definitely something there for me as far as healing or awareness or connection, whatever
Yeah.
it might be. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me know when you want to go. I'll meet you up there. There's when you talk about there's a lot of people going for their spiritual quest, and it can be overdone. There's when we have some discernment as to what we are actually doing, and it goes back to the craft of paying attention to what resonates and what doesn't resonate. You have to go with what resonates, and so you have to go to Shasta. You do.
I
I was watching a show on, I think it was Netflix, and it was about Shasta, and they started talking about all the evil stuff that's going on there.
oh no.
And I'm like, what? I've never ever felt an evil presence up there, ever. There's indigenous people who say don't go above the tree line, because there's bad spirits. Well, there's reverence, and then there's irreverence.
Yeah.
So if you go up there in irreverence, well, guess what you're going to get?
Yeah, I like that you have that. I too find that I go back to that word of reverence, because I've been reminded by spirit guides and loved ones on the other side, that how important it is, and how precious it is, and how truly remarkable and unique, and it's this and reverence is the only way that I can find to describe it, that we have to humble and remove our ego and open up our trust to this reverence. And people might call it a higher power. but I find that there is this humbleness that comes over us when we connect with these vibrations, with these entities, with these energies, and it really is very humbling, and it brings us into that place of reverence that maybe I was going a little too quick, or maybe I was, assuming too much, but they take me right back to that, you know, keep your keep your mind on or keep your focus on the divine spark. Keep your focus
Yeah,
on the collective consciousness, And so I like that you have that reverence, awareness, and because it's something that I'm reminded of often.
all the time. And when you were talking, I was also reminded too of sometimes I don't have reverence for myself.
Mhm.
I'm just on the path. I'm just walking, and I'm not paying attention. We have such a gift of life, and and I think we forget it a lot of times. We just wake up, go through the day, and anyway, we'll leave it at that. I do want to talk about one more thing real quickly. There was, I wrote it down, but I closed my book, so I'm not going to be able to read it. But there was a European Union spaceship that is going out to look for life. They're going to Jupiter. They're going to go to the moons of Jupiter. I don't know how many moons there are. I'm not that into astrology or that. And they decided to turn their sensors and awareness back to Earth. Guess what they found? Earth is habitable.
Mhm.
You could have life on Earth. And I thought to myself, wow, we can have life here if we choose it.
Mhm.
And I'll
Yeah,
just end there.
um, yeah, I think that it's the knowing that of the different races and energies and consciousness out there is known and accepted, but the actual science behind it and the tangible evidence is something that they have always said, humanity is not quite ready for, even though they say that there are extraterrestrials or different races, different galactic races here on this planet at this time, and that they say that the government knows. I think that some divisions may know, but I'm looking forward to the day that it is undeniable to the masses and not just accessible to the open-minded. And I don't know if you know who Daryl Anka is, Bashar. He's
Yeah.
he's somebody who I admire, and he is saying that there is a timeline in the next few years for this to be the case. But I think that people say about disclosure, that word, and I said, we are disclosure. We, uh, we who already connect with and communicate with other races and other the information that is available here. We are the disclosure. Like it's not waiting until somebody else tells us it's okay to have disclosure. We already are disclosure. And I think that
Yeah.
it takes each and every one of us to just come to that reality and that awareness, because otherwise it's really very silly to think that we're the only intelligent life in this multiverse. It's just it's very egoic of
Well,
humanity.
I mean, we didn't even get into the elementals. We didn't
Oh,
even get into all of that. It's like, oh my gosh. No, we're the only ones worthy, us two-leggeds. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you? Anyway, so I love that. We are disclosure. Yeah, very
And
cool.
it didn't come from me. It was a something that I got from a a message that came through. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna attach it to you. So
But it is something that I've learned along the way, and I feel very blessed and honored that the information that does come through, that I'm able to acquire a perspective and an awareness and an understanding that allows me to move forward in this quest for wisdom and sharing that wisdom. And we're always learning, nobody's, but it's I feel very honored to have this ability to communicate with the universal laws or the universal lessons. Um, when I do go on journeys myself, I call them spiritual journeys, and I do raise myself into I go through a level of moving up my consciousness, my level of consciousness. And when I get to a certain level, I can reach my galactic council. And the information that comes from the Galactic Council, I just want to cry. It is so loving,
are they
reassuring.
mean? Are they mean to you? I'm
They
gonna go
are
talk to them. Don't be mean
it's
to Jean.
yeah, it's really you can feel it. You can feel the resonance, you can feel the
Yeah.
overwhelming truth of it and the vibration and the energy that comes through the information. And you just feel so humbled and honored and um, you know, just you're a steward of this information now,
Yep.
and you need to display, project, and teach. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Yes, yes, yes. Well, listen, we are at an hour over, so we're going to end it here. Jean, I am honored that you came on my show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been great. And I
Thank you
don't know,
for
is it my show? It's collective, it's the collective show. Anyway, thank you for joining me on this beautiful Monday.
yes. Thanks for
Awesome.
inviting me, Danny. It was so interesting, so lovely connecting with you.
Yeah,
I appreciate the time.
we'll do it again for sure, for sure.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Peace and love.